And let's begin by arriving. So sit well, which means feel your sits bones on the chair, feel your feet on the floor. And then bring your shoulders over your hips. We don't straighten our back. We want a soft, natural curve in our spine. And then roll your skull slightly forward. So the center on the top of your head can point directly up to the source of yang qi. Direct translation is heaven. Heaven is right here. Take a breath in that comfortable, natural, but upright posture. And with your next inhale, gather up all of the actions and intentions you use to arrive here and now. Inhale and gather. Exhale them. Float your feet back to the earth. You don't need them anymore. Inhale and gather. Exhale back to the earth. With your next inhale, gather up all of your plans and anticipations for the evening, the week, even further into the future. Inhale and gather. Exhale them off to the side. They'll still be there when we're done. Inhale and gather. Exhale off to the side. And just take another breath or so in your hopefully more spacious inner landscape. So this is an introduction to my next series, 12-week series, taking advantage of the season of summer. So in the Tao calendar, 4 seasons, each is governed by an element, but it also offers or supports a different way of using our energy. And the summer is giving us the most energy. Think about the sun feeding us that yang light, that yang qi light. And so this is the time when we want to do our most, it is physically strengthening, but it's also about strengthening your qi. So most of the practices we'll do will deal with the physical body and the qi body. And for those of you I don't know, there's a metaphor, I think it's literal, that we have multiple bodies. That's 2 of them. The third is the mental emotional body. So we are feeling and thinking with every cell, not just our brain or more poetically, our heart. And then there's the Shen body, which is the spirit, the least physically manifest. And even though we can do meditation and cultivate our Shen in the summertime, it's most supported to really go inward and cultivate our deeper energies and our Shen in the wintertime. And the more you think about or use these, the more logical they are. They're in our culture, even though we don't organize them in the same way. Wintertime, we talk about cocooning. Everyone wants to turn in and be warm rather than out in the harsh wind and cold of the winter. So we're also turning in our body, in our practice. In the summertime, we're outside, we're open, we're reaching outward, which is a yang movement. So we cultivate those energies, or it's not really different energies so much as different ways of being with your energy, because ultimately you have yin energy and yang energy, and both need to be present. Mostly yang in the summertime, but you also need to have quiet where these yang practices that have gathered energy, we need to bring them into our body. And the way we do that is more quiet practices. So the curriculum menu of this series, and tonight we'll be sampling, if not doing some of these practices, is centered on the 8 Brocades that we started in the spring series, the Shaolin version, which requires a little more strength and a little more lack of a better word, trying to be as vague and general as possible. There are, and we have done, very gentle versions of the 8 Brocades also. Along with that, we're going to do the Iron Shirt Qigong set. And this is a set of, well, total it's 7 postures, but the 7th is not taught, and I don't teach it, and it's not particularly helpful, and it's dangerous, called Iron Bar. But the other 6, each one is very different than the others. Each one holds a special place in this set of 6. We already have sampled in the spring series, and we're going to do it tonight. The Phoenix cleans its feathers, which is one of my favorite practices to purge old chi. And then we will probably, I hope we'll have time to do at least one more from Iron Shirt, and we'll do several other Qigong along the way that will support purging. Well, first we warm up. We don't want to plunge into purging, but some practice that moves our body and brings the fluids in our joints a little warmth. And then we purge. You got to purge old energy. It's almost like that learning, that expression, you can't receive in a full cup. Well, you can't pull fresh energy in if you're full of stale, stagnant energy. And then we will gather chi, and then we will do our 8 Brocades or a portion of it, depending on time. And then we will do a physical version introducing the microcosmic orbit, which is an inner practice that helps us calm, refine, and kind of align this fresh chi from outside to our system. So first idea is you have to purge. Second idea is you can pull in all the chi you want, but if you don't do something to settle it into your body, and using metaphors because it's energy, but allow that fresh atmospheric earth, heavenly chi to kind of bring its vibration to your vibration. You can't use it. It'll keep you up, give you a headache, fall out the porosities of your body, and you will have wasted your time. We don't want to do that. Before I start, because we're going to spend most of the time together practicing, I'm not going to give you a detailed background, but I should say at the beginning of most of the classes of the series, I will be presenting some context and depth to what we're doing. It is more than just a practice class. I want you to be able to understand why you're doing something. And I believe, in my opinion, that will allow you to own the practices better and more quickly. Any questions? Okay, let's stand up. So we started by sitting well. There's also standing well. Similar. We want good structure. We don't want to impinge any of our meridians or chi paths, but we do want it to be soft, natural, so that we can maintain this standing well posture for a long time. Some postures are challenging and they're not meant to be held for a long time. This one, I would even suggest from now on, when you're standing, stand well in the grocery store while you're waiting for your water to boil. The one thing we want to do is stand, feet are under your hips or your shoulders, depending on your build, and your feet are parallel. And more particularly for women, make sure your knees are over your feet. So some of us, because of the way our hips are built, if you go down, you'll find that your knees are coming together. You may need to build the muscle, tiny muscles in a particular way so that you're pushing your knees out over your feet. And as we practice iron shirt, this is going to be very important, but it's generally important. It's going to keep your joints strong well into old age. Unlock your knees. That automatically softens your ankles and your hips. And place your hand on your sacrum. So here I have parallel, unlock. Now my sacrum's pointing outward in back of me a tiny bit. Also more in women's build than men, but check. And simply roll your pelvis a tiny bit so that your tailbone is pointing directly down just behind your heels. So that requires a little more effort because you haven't locked out your joints, but energetically, everything is supported, nothing is pinched or pulled, and in doing that obstructs chi flow. Then we want to gently engage our abdomen. If you have a tendency to relax it, engage it. If you have a tendency to really engage it, try to soften it. Shoulders, of course, are down. And the same thing. I used to say tuck your chin until I saw people actually kind of burying their chin into their neck. You don't want to do that. It's mainly about pointing this very porous energy center at the top of your head straight up into the sky. Last element is your heart. Inhale into your heart. And as you exhale, let it settle into the center of your body. Inhale and let it settle. Just close your eyes, take a breath in this posture so that your body can remember it. Good. We're going to use an opening Qigong I haven't done in a while, but I like it. It's called stretching with vowel sounds. So we inhale, lace, reverse, and come up. Most Qigong stretching, it might even look like everything's locked out, but it's not. Knees are unlocked, elbows are unlocked, shoulders are down. You want to stretch without locking. Looking up, the first sound is A. Sorry, ah. Ah. Inhale and release that stretch and go to one side or the other. Be careful not to turn. You want to open your ribs on one side, compressing them on the other. Now we have A. A. Once again, inhale, soften. The other side is E. E. And bending over to O. Watch your back. You don't leave. If you have back issues, go slow and roll rather than leave her down. Oh. Now your hands on your legs and curl your back like a cat. And the sound is ooh, ooh. And now flat back. Try to have your spine parallel to the floor. Head is up, tongue is out, and make sound. Eyes look up, similar to the phoenix, those of you who know that. Ah. Inhale, ah, ooh, ah. And stand, stay with your stretched with sound body. The next one I want to do, which is we're still preparing here really, is called opening the three gates. So we have a gate here, here, and here, but they're not just frontal, they're front and back. And generally speaking, if you open the front, the back closes. So when I lift and open my throat, the back of my neck is curled over and oh, sorry, I thought that was something I needed to pay attention to. So open in front, closed in back, reverse, open and back, closed in front. With the chest, it feels, or maybe it makes it more visible to open with the arms bent. And you can feel your shoulder blades touching, right? The back gate is closed. And then bring those elbows together. Feel that gate and back opening with the front closed. And you can place your hands above your hips for the same support. So as I push my belly and my hips out, stretching this way and this way, it's really the dantian, lower dantian gate. And then I curl my tailbone under, pushing out my lumbar, and I open my lower gate and back. So then we get it into a movement. So still keeping them one at a time. And there are levels or intensities to this. So the first intensity demonstrating with the upper gate, very soft, not all the way. I would say not even halfway. You're still opening and closing these gates. Remember that energetics are often, let's say, more available when we're doing something softer. And then a medium intensity would be the weight of my head down, the weight of my head back. And then the high intensity, we must be careful. We needn't do the high intensity, but it's all the way down, all the way back. So with that in mind, let's stay at the first intensity. Because remember, we're using this as a preparation. Having said that, many Qigong can be done for many purposes. We can also do this as a more rigorous way to really work with the spine. But open the front and the back, open the front, middle, back, middle, front, and back. Neck, neck, chest, chest, hips, hips. And if you can do it without using your arms, it can be a little more, you have a little more flow. Open the neck, chest, hips, close the hips, chest, neck. And so you get this wave. The only difference between, well, not difference, but we do want to, having the intention or the awareness of opening these energy gates. Good. And so anyone I don't know, anyone who's new, people I do know, I've heard this many, many times, but my main teacher, Masahiro Ouchi, tells the anecdote that people have come to him and said, I tried your Qigong, it doesn't work. And he asked, well, did you do it? And I say, well, yeah, I did it twice. These are cultivations. They're meant to be folded into your life. And if you do fold them into your life, you do feel the difference, feel supported. And the other element is you do change, you do get more flexible, more calm, more centered, and you don't notice because it's a cultivation and it happens slowly. So when we do our Qigong, we do that movement and then we pause and just observe our body. And it is absolutely okay if nothing is observed. That might even be best. It's not only about your critical mental brain, it's also about giving your physical and energy body a moment to take it in. They don't go as fast as our brain goes. But let's do some purging. I feel like that is a nice Qigong to warm your body and get the fluids released and get more able to flow. This is our first iron shirt. Iron shirt. They're called postures, even though there is movement in most, if not all of them. So the main thing to prepare for the Phoenix is to be grounded. Many things we can do to increase our grounding. One of them is a wider stance. If you're young, here is good. I'm not young. I'm going to stay up here. You do want your knees more than unlocked. You want them bent. You want your pelvis, that tailbone, still pointing to the floor. So if you've got this great wide stance, but you're canted forward, your tailbone's pointing way out back, the width is not good for you. That tailbone's more important. And then the same upper body is standing well, gently engaged abdomen, settled heart, relaxed down shoulders, and chin is rolled a little bit back. But this may be the first time some of you are doing it, so let's take an extra step here to increase our grounding. Lift your toes and grab the floor. It stretches the sole of your foot and opens kidney point 1, bubbling spring point. Lower dantian, which you'll hear me just call dantian, the main energy center or more than energy center. It's a dantian, can store energy there and is where we want to be centered. So close your eyes and look into connect with dantian. This is below your navel, inside your body. Don't worry about the precise location right now. With most of your attention there, expand another part of your attention to the chi cloud, this atmospheric life force energy that we live our whole lives in. Visualize it as a cloud of golden mist, golden light. Inhale and draw that mist into your whole body. Exhale and pull it into your dantian. Nourish your dantian with that breath. Just a couple times. It, it acts like ballast for our energy body. But we need to be grounded to the earth, not just to our center. Stay with that inhale. Fill your body with golden mist. Now exhale that chi, that golden mist, out the bottom of your feet into the earth. And as it enters the earth, it grows your roots like you are a big, healthy old tree. Inhale, fill. Exhale. Each exhale, your roots grow deeper, extend wider, get thicker and stronger. Good. Our feet, super porous, always connected to the earth in some way, but we can always bring awareness to it and increase that. Another super porous point in our body is Neigong. Two middle fingers curled in. That's the point right there. You don't have to get precise. We're going to point our whole palm to the earth. This is my navel. Neigong must be below my navel. Nothing like this, but no lock. The elbows, no scrunch to the armpit. Just take a breath in that posture. Now it's going to be, your leg muscles are being used. There should be no pain at all. We're going to do Kapalabhati to fuel our dantian to help us purge this old chi. And I'm going to give you kind of a rough draft of the Phoenix Queen's its feathers because there are other details. We could spend a whole hour going into the richness of this one Qigong. If you rough draft it, you will get the benefit and it will be good enough for tonight. Kapalabhati standing is exhale only. So we start by filling our lungs and then I'm going to do it through my mouth so you can see it, but it's done through the nose. Like that, but through the nose. And as I exhale, I'm compressing my dantian, pulling up my perineum, down my diaphragm, abdomen in, kidneys in. Also the sides if you can. As many of those elements as you can without getting in your head. Compressing the dantian, relaxing, and it opens and chi goes in. Compress that chi, relax, draw in more. Good. So now let's do it. Here, fill your lungs all the way. And empty your lungs. 1/3, quick inhale. Fingers like this. We're going to scrape up the flotsam and jetsam of our old chi. And again, we've gathered it. Now we're going to release it. Let's use the S sound of the lungs. Empty your lungs all the way. Then 1/3. Drawing in from our Wei Qi field. And kidney sound, cho, cho. Now connecting those 3 dantian, which were in between our 3 lower, middle, upper gates, right? Do that by, we've exhaled, we exhale more. And release your wide stance, kick to release any hip congestion. This draws down qi that may have risen and not been released. So in this, one of my favorite, it is my favorite iron shirt, we are fueling our dantian. And normally we do not fuel that dramatically unless we're going to immediately use the energy. So say I feel tired, I would not go. There are other things that are more effective. But for this dramatic purging, we want that fuel. So, and then here, it's almost like the fingertips are connected and I'm drawing up, scraping up, like brushing crumbs off a tablecloth. I've gathered it up and now I release it into the atmosphere. I kind of visualize it falling to the earth because the earth takes anything and makes flowers with it. And then for this part, so we've, for this part, we want to visualize gathering the chi from 360 degrees, not just here. This cleans our inner body. This cleans our Wei Qi field. So 1/3, 1/3, I'm scraping, and almost if you use the idea of a magnet, maybe you've got this big pile of stuff I don't need. And then that goes directly down. I've cleaned internally, externally, semi-externally. But then I also want to connect my 3 dantian with this. It's using sexual energy and drawing it up my spine, out my tongue. And I'm using my tendons to help me, right? Because there's tendon energy. I don't know the anatomy of the tongue, if there are actually little tendons in there. Definitely tendons in the eyes. So we're sticking out the tongue, we're looking up, our feet go out, our hands go out. This twisting, you remember folks from spring series, twisting and extending is activating your tendon. It's a very rich Qigong. You're cleaning, purging, and connecting. And this idea of the 3 dantians being connected is essential. In the philosophical view, it's essential for a good life. You don't want to live your whole life running on instinct or fight or flight, survival. You don't want to emote your whole life and you don't want to think your whole life. All of them together create the best present, best life. So we've made space, we've cleared some clutter. Let's gather some chi. This one can be done, and actually I'll try and remember to include the link to the video for a 3 or 10-minute practice on YouTube, Golden Ball. It also kind of soaks into our cells the way chi moves and can be very calming, naturally grounding. And if you tend to be thinking, you can kind of use it to get out of your head, or at least I do. So the stance is flexible, whatever's And the first thing we do is visualize standing in a stream of life force energy of chi. How deep it is, how fast, how warm, how cold, it's up to you. On a hot day, cold would feel good. Right now, I think I want mine to be a little warm. So the movement is hands up, he rises, he expands, he contracts, he flows in, it flows out, it descends, and it disperses. So from dispersing, gather and rise, expand, contract, flow in, flow out, descend, disperse, gather, rise, excuse me, expand, contract, in, out, descend, disperse. So the last thing I want you to do is this. As it rises, so I start a little low, I rise, and I have a feeling of rising. As it expands, I expand. My back arches a tiny bit. My chest opens. As it contracts, I contract my chest. However, like the gates, back open. She is contracting. Flows in. I want to feel it coming out. I want to feel it coming out. Descends. I have this feeling of me descending also. And it disperses. I let it go. And I gather, rises, expand, contracts, in, out, descends, disperse, gather, rise. So you want to get the corners, the beginnings and the ends of the movements off. They flow one to the other because chi flows. And you are not, in my opinion, gathering chi by gathering it. You're gathering chi by aligning with, by kind of dancing with chi's natural dance. Reminding, gather, rise, expand, contract, going in, out, sending, disperse. More times. And now, hands down, gather. He rises, he expands, contracts, descends, disperses, gather, rise, expand, contract, descend, disperse. Last time. Gather, rise, expand, contract, flow in, flow out, descend, disperse. Once more. I think I skipped the in and out. Gather, rise, expand, contract, flow in, flow out, expand and disperse. Now just stand. So far, we've been dealing with us, our body, our chi field, aligning ourselves with chi. The centerpiece of Iron Shirt is embracing the tree. Chinese name for it is Yichuan. There are many variations. It's very old and practiced for the entirety of China and probably now in the entirety of the world. We will think into the classical form, I would call it a quieter form later. For tonight, I want to use the Wudong form to have us look out from ourselves. So we stand well. And once again, this can be a wide stance or a narrow stance. Up to you. Feel your center, feel your roots. And the first version, the first part, is your palms are facing down. Posture is the same, intention's quite different than what we did with the Phoenix. Bend yourself, your awareness, palms deep into the earth, connect to the planet. And up above you, you can almost keep your arms exactly as they are and just bring them up. I'll bend down so you can see palms are facing heaven. Make sure your shoulders stay down. Send your awareness, your focus, whatever you want to call it, up to the cosmos. Cosmos too vague, just go to the moon. And out to the side. Not like this, although we want to feel like we're doing this. Feel the, you see how my arm is, elbow is bent, palm is facing the side. And send your connection, your connecting mind all the way to the horizons on both sides. Band. 3 different expansions. And then, only then, we come into the classical embracement posture. Once here for tonight, just scan and see if you're holding tension anywhere that you can release. Shoulders up, drop them. Elbows up, drop them. No. Fingers are too in tension, relax them. Let's repeat that. Down into the center of the earth, rooting your mind into the planet. Into the cosmos, to the stars, to the moon, the other planets. Out to each side, to the horizons, and then embracing. Good. And let's open us out and to each one. Picking, taking, and bounce also. We have time for another iron shirt. And I think a good one to do would be the one that is emblematic of the iron shirt. So the name sounds super exotic and martial. It is used, various sets called iron shirt, not all the same, are used by martial artists and were used to create such strong, can call it a layer of chi. Now we know about the fascia, so it really feels like the fascia has been filled and filled over and over again with chi through various practices. Also works in the Wei Chi field. So I've used that term a couple of times. It just means the part of you that's invisible. We don't end at the skin. We have this little cloud of energy that extends beyond our physical body. Wei Chi field is the first, let's call it a gate of our immune system. So it's not just like an aura to be played with. We should maintain a strong and gunk free, stagnation free Wei Chi field. It's called Iron Bridge. It's also a good one to share with you because it brings in iron shirt breath or breathing. There are several breathing practices in iron shirt Qigong that I often don't have time to teach when I'm doing, I used to do 7 week series. This 12-week series, we're going to be able to uh, practice a lot more of the breathing and the compression stuff. So for Iron Bridge, we make this mudra, index and thumb pinching. The other fingers are out. Mantak Chia calls it Egyptian eyes. Maybe it's like this. And we gather chi to our kidneys and hold these two mudras over our kidneys. So my kidneys are here, and I don't want to touch. I want this stretch horizontal because then I'm going to stretch vertical. And what this is really doing is stretching my fascia. It's helping me feel my fascia so I can pack chi into it. I guess just I'm going to describe the step by step. So I'm opening my chest, stretching that fascia. Here, at least, I can feel it. And then I go back, but it's not a back bend. If you can feel your fascia a couple inches back, that's all you need to do. Most of us, we have to go a little further back. You'll feel this gentle stretching up your thighs and abdomen. Watch your fascia being engaged. Watch your neck. We don't want to drop it back. And what we do, so you would be here the whole time. I'm going to use my hands to describe. You inhale, visualizing, pulling up earth energy, like a thick blanket. It's like a thick woolly blanket. And you inhale, pulling it up the front panel of your body. And as you exhale, with your intention, with your breath, it's a glottal breath, so my throat is closed. I'm with much effort pressing that earth into my fascia. So it's inhale, thick earth, lively earth. I do that three or five times. And then I bend over this way, much harder to feel the fascia bend over because we bend over so much, but the same thing. Thick blanket up the back panel. Exhale it in several times. You don't have to put this earth energy into the fascia and all your creases and crevices. Just like tendons, bones, it's a system. So we're increasing the energy, the strength of the fascia in front and back, and the fascia, the body, in its wisdom, will go, okay, and it will increase the strength of your rib cage fascia, inner leg, so forth. So let's do that. If you have a tendency to get lightheaded, watch yourself. It's a rigorous breath, even though we only do it a few times. So unlock your knees, open your Egyptian eyes. I think it's hieroglyphic eyes. Inhale, gathering chi, kind of soft chi into your kidneys, stretching your fascia vertically, sending your mind, your focus to the earth. Big inhale, drawing up that woolly blanket of earth, pressing it in with the exhale. Go at your own pace, but no more. Let's do 4 breaths today, no more than 4. You've done your 4. Straighten up, and you keep your mudra, put your hands into a natural place. And just take a breath here. You don't want to go from back to front when you've been doing glottal breath. Now, bend over. Bend over and situate. We had to let somebody in. Situate your spine. Inhale and draw that thick, woolly blanket of earth up the back of your legs, over your sacrum, along the back, mid back, upper back, shoulders, neck, and the back of your skull. Exhale, press it in. 3 more times. The Qigong is esoteric, but it's also extremely practical. We're down here. So let's gather fresh earth chi with our hands, like digging in a garden. Gather that chi and draw it up the back of your legs to your kidney. Grounding, nourishing your kidneys with the earth, and then to your dantian. For this, we only do once, and as I said, you can do 3 breaths. I don't know if 1 is really going to be effective, but 3 is fine, and no more than 5. More is not necessarily better in many of the Qigong, especially the strengthening Qi. Do I have any questions at all before I move on? Okay. So before we move into our 8 brocades, we have done all of this energy gathering work. We gathered it kind of fluidly, atmospherically with the golden ball, and then from the earth with the iron bridge. Let's, before we move on, circulate the chi in our body. And this is a very accessible way to align gathered chi to your system. It's called Quan Kong Strokes of Spirit. The best, the centerpiece of these kind of circulation practices, the microcosmic orbit meditation, but this is a physical movement that allows us to do that practice even if we don't know the meditation or if we don't have time or the place to sit down and turn inward for it. The movement, it's again standing well, knees unlocked, but beyond that, it's natural stance. We inhale, our palms come up, the top of our head, not just here. Exhale and down. So details matter. As I come up, I'm quite close to my body. As I go down, I'm further away. I'm actually making kind of a compressed oval shape. As my hands come up close to my body, I'm in my mind drawing up my spine to my crown, drawing energy. Just use your inner vision. If you know the microcosmic orbit, you can use your pearl. And as I come down, it's coming down the front of my body to my perineum, up my back, down the front. And in Qigong, there's this activation the front and back of the body. So as I'm coming up, I want to be on my heels. Back of my body is activated. On my toes, the front of my body is activated. To be honest, this is a subtle thing. I've never felt like shivers on my back or front, but I trust my teachers, more than one teacher conveyed this. So we have this rocking and this movement. And the mind is in the microcosmic orbit, which is up Dumai, down Renmai, if you know the meridian and vessel name. You can further increase efficacy by having a calm and inward mind. Another saying is where the mind goes, chi follows. Yes, it means if we're thinking about our feet, chi will go to our feet, but it's also about the quality of our mindset. If we have very aggressive, very active mind, our chi will be that way. If we calm our mind, our chi will be that way. But more times. When we get to our belly, our dantian, pause there, hands on your belly. I kind of think we can move through all of the movements of the 8 brocades, maybe not holding them quite as long as we will in future classes, and still have time to sit and really settle ourselves before class time ends. So natural stance. Inhale into prayer palms, pressing, elbows straight out, lever into a bow. Rise. This is repeated between each posture or movement. We inhale as hands come up, exhale as hands come down. Twice, but then sometimes one more to move into the movement. In this case, reaching up to heaven. So I'm reaching up to heaven. I release that reach and palms up to heaven. I'm looking up. And soften, fingertips upward again. And then I almost feel like I'm pulling a little piece of heaven down to me. And I close that movement. So in this form, step out is to the left, and usually we address the right first. I'm going to be stepping out like this so I can stay in the center. You just big step out. Look at your thigh where you're drawing the arrow, the bow from. And soften, palms forward. Circle around into the mudra on the right. Oh, and soften. My palms down, back to the center. When the hands get to the heart, they separate. And then, oh, back frontal and switch. Open. To the front and transition. Big circle around the kidney. Look back. Other side. Hands uncircle away, straight out and then down. Big ants. The bear looks backwards. Keep your hands on your thighs at all times. Lever down center and circle to your right. Foot follows you, back foot follows you. Small movement. And lever down. And circle around to the other side. And now more of a twist, looking back over your shoulder. Release the looking back a bit and then lever down. The other side. Lever down. Back to the center and roll up. Do not lever up. And narrower step. Here. Sorry, I feel like I'm losing my hair. Your dantian. Round your waist. Through your kidneys. Bend forward. right and back. Hands still on the kidneys. Important. Upright. And as you bend forward, draw your hands down the back of your leg. Feet. And draw up inner front of your leg. Your dantian. Let me do twice. Back to the kidneys. Then back. Right. Bend over. Feet. Back into a wide stance. Transition. Here, twist those tendons open into fist. Right fist first. Breath. Turn. Curl your fingers into a fist and pull back like you're pulling a wet rug. Other side. Breath. Circle. Curl. Pull. Right side. Rest. Circle. Curl. Pull. Fist. Breath. Circle. Curl and pull. Front both fists. Breath. Turn. Curl into fist and pull. Draw your fists up your chest, your face. Feet come in. This movement is all five fingertips are together. You're gathering chi and pulling up. You're on your toes. Hold and then release. There's some images of the phoenix and the golden ball. The phoenix is from Montauk Chia and one of the iron shirt bell them postures. Golden ball is from my medical Qigong lineage, the drawing of the medical Qigong founder there. Let's see. Along with what we did tonight, there is a very beautiful posture called golden urn, and it's a held posture similar to each one, and each one is on this slide because we start with a good each one before we start messing with it and adding to it. This one is probably the most challenging. It is for the kidneys in particular, but it is a golden turtle and water buffalo. And if you have something like a folding chair, kind of in your mind, locate it. I'm not sure what class will do it, definitely not next week. That can be very helpful because the posture of the spine in the turtle is essential that it be all of these different images just of that held posture. And then the water buffalo, which is the yang version of it. Here's our iron bridge. Missing some. Yeah. One of the main breathing practices in iron shirt is called packing, which is a little misleading because think of packing as condensing something solid, but what we're actually doing is packing chi into our joints and space, so your joints will feel more spacious. Very nice, especially if you have joint pain or lack of flexibility in your joints. And another breathing practice is to wrap your fascia of the organs. We want to create, there's an image of a tire. We almost want to create this chi field, air field tire around our organs and our body so that impact, they do focus on impact a lot, but it's also your immune system. If you have strong layers of protection, all sorts of immunity is your benefit. So I'll ask again if there are any questions. If not, I want us just to sit for it's like we have 4 minutes. Even though we did Qigong Kong, it's very important when we're doing mostly yang practices to pay attention to getting enough yin. Not so easy, but the most accessible yin is just to sit. Why not to do anything? I mean, that's, people have been trying to do that for millennia. There's a reason. So, well, yes.
I just got disconnected, but I don't know if somebody already asked. Can you explain the microcosmic bit?
Absolutely. I don't know that I have so I don't see a slide with it here, and I don't want to spend too much time digging for one. So we have meridians in our body. Most of us have heard that, especially if you've been to an acupuncturist or an acupressurist. And the chi usually, it does, if you're healthy, runs in one direction in those meridians. We also have other things. So generally is translated as a vessel. Not the greatest choice because a vessel is kind of a container. But we have a vessel, like a major big meridian running from the tip of our tongue down our throat to right in front of our perineum at the bottom of our torso. We have another one running from the back of our perineum up our spine, up our neck, crown, forehead. It goes into our face and ends at our upper palate. This beginning and end is a reason why so many traditions have you place your tongue at the top of the roof of your mouth, because it connects the two. So in the microcosmic orbit, we run attention, run energy up the back and down the front. And it's an orbit, so it really doesn't have an important beginning and end, the practice, not the vessels. And this process of going inside and gently following these two vessels, following this pathway, has a lot of benefits. One is generally the back of the body, the Dumai, is considered to hold mostly yang energy, and the front mostly yin energy. So if you're going around and around, if you have a tendency to be too yin or too yang, this will balance your general energy frequency, for lack of a better word. Another thing about these vessels is any meridian that's having an issue can pull energy off of these vessels if they're depleted, or if it's too much, they can put their energy into these vessels. So running that orbit also balances your meridians indirectly. Third reason is the one basically most relevant to our stuff today is we're gathering this chi. We're also releasing chi as we practice. We don't notice. And maybe it needs to be released, but not everything has to happen within our attention. Circulating the microcosmic orbit brings any stray chi into those vessels. It settles it. It also is the practice, I believe, that's most efficient for any outside chi, aligning it with your body, your body's needs and its frequency. Please don't ask me about frequency. I'm using that because we don't really have words for some of this stuff. But it's like if you're royal blue, I don't know if this is going to work out or not, and you brought in a bunch of turquoise, the turquoise isn't going to mix with the royal blue. So the microcosmic orbit can bring it more to your shade of blue, your shade of energy. Not a great one, but a little better. Any other questions? That was very helpful. Thank you. Okay. We're a little bit over time, and I want to respect your time. Oh, I have 8 of these things. These are called hitters. And one of the things we do is we inhale chi into a part of our body and we hit so that it's driven into the skin, into the tissue, or into the bone. This is more for the tissue, the metal ones for the bone. So I'm offering the first 8 people who sign up for my series who don't already have one, I will send you this. Mostly because I want to get rid of them. I'm trying to do a major household purge, but it's not an expensive thing, but they can be hard to find. So if I know a couple people have already signed up, I will just look and see, and I'll ask you if you want one. But I only have 8, so that's why the first 8 thing. And we will be doing going over the entire hitting practice. Bamboo hitters, you don't need one. Mung bean hitters, and I will demonstrate metal hitters, which are for the bones, but those are very expensive because they're usually made in Asia and the shipping is very expensive. They're heavy. I'm glad I remember that. Okay. Any other? It's business.
Can I ask one last quick question?
Sure.
Have you ever heard any discussion of how doing the microcosmic orbit affects the Chongmai? Like, because the Ren and Du come from the Chong. So I was just wondering, when you said it helps all the meridians, does it help the ones that form after Ren and Du, or the primordial one too? And you can table that question for another.
My intuition says it does help, but I'm not sure how we would discern the change. It being so deep. But I will think about it more, Meridian. I will think about it more, Meridian. That's going to be your new nickname, Meredith. And see what else bubbles to the surface. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, I will send you an email with a link to the video. Even if you cannot or decide not to take the series, please use that video to continue the practice. You don't hold anything back, although it is hard to fit everything into 90 minutes, so can't always give you a complete picture, but I try. Thank you so much and have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miranda.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome.